We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We're deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. I'm Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
We're also on your radio once a week, talking with the leading authorities in the restaurant business. We are covering all those subjects trending in the business. You can tweet your own questions while we're on the air. Our Twitter handle, it's @SellRestaurants. Post to our Facebook page, Facebook.com/WeSellRestaurants. If we don't get to your questions, we will follow up on our social media channels.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas, comments about the show, I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email. My email is Eric, E-R-I-C, @WeSellRestaurants.com.
Get ready to tweet, post, and gain social media knowledge. We are talking to restaurant social media experts, those with companies that are part of the nation's restaurant news, Social 200, and others. These are guys who are breaking records in social media marketing, and they'll be giving you insight today if you want to know how to start, grow, and thrive in an online environment.
And part of our panel today, our first guest is Allie Wright. Allie is the content strategist at Santee, where she leverages consumer insights to better understand what specific audience wants to see and engage with relative to a brand. She's an expert in email marketing, content strategy, social media, analytics, public relations, and consumer engagement strategy. With over 6 years of experience spending time in-house at Philosophy and Sky Mall, she now oversees all social media on behalf of Santee. Santee is a marketing communication agency offering branding, broadcast, commercials, and production, digital, social media, mobile media, planning, buying, and public relations. Santee specializes in marketing and Gen X millennials for multi-unit retail chains. Welcome to the show, Haley.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay, and Hallie actually specializes with Peter Piper Pizza, which is why she is joining us today. Our next guest is Hannah Carroll. Hannah is the social media manager at Green Olive Media. She's primarily responsible for planning and executing effective social media strategies and campaigns for more than 15 clients, as well as managing content and day-to-day engagement. Before joining Green Olive Media, Hannah developed and managed social media for chefs, restaurants, and TV shows involved with the hospitality industry. She received her BS in broadcast journalism from Florida A&M. Hi, glad to have you, Hannah.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
And last but not least, to complete our panel today, we have Kelly O'Brien. Kelly O'Brien is the Director of Social, Interactive, and Digital Marketing at Krispy Kreme Donuts. She joined Krispy Kreme in 2011 as a member of the Krispy Kreme marketing team. Kelly contributes to managing the E-Club, Friends of Krispy Kreme's social media channel, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, etc., at KrispyKreme.com. Kelly holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Communications from Lenore Rhymes University. During her time with Krispy Kreme, Kelly's expertise in social media has helped make an advancement in fan engagement, created a series of interactive live events, and grow participation in the E-Club by migrating over existing fans on social pages. Prior to joining Krispy Kreme, Kelly was an interactive specialist in High Point, North Carolina. Kelly, welcome to the show today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Okay, so we love Krispy Kreme, And who doesn't? And I want to just kick it off by talking to you, Kelly, because you guys are on the nation's restaurant news, Social 200. So how is it that you've actually found that secret ingredient to get folks to engage with you online? And after you've finished answering, I'm going to ask our other guests to weigh in as well.
Sure. I would say the first way is to truly listen to our fans and truly put our brand in the hands of our fans. And we're a word-of-mouth organization. As part of our rich history, we've been around for almost 78 years now, and we started out as a word-of-mouth because in the heart of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, people could smell our donuts. They started talking about them. And so in social media, we play the same way or talk or engage the same way with our fans as we did back then, to that degree of the fact word-of-mouth, letting our fans, again, they hold the power of the brand, and we engage with them. We share the content that they enjoy, they talk about. We share their content. And, we organically help to get our fans engaged just by, chiming into some of the conversations that they have. In some occasions, we'll build occasions around celebrating in the moment of what they're talking about. And in other times, we create fun occasion days, such as Talk Like a Pirate Day. We celebrate birthdays because it's a brand about celebrations and pure joy, and extending our mission. So in everything that we do, if our intent is to be your friend and to be closely connected to you, again, as that sincere friend, and listen and just being as sweet as possible. So that's basically how we've been able to connect. And we've been growing on the NRN list, the 200. We've been going up and down the scale, staying about the 20s, 25s, and up to like 2 and 3 and things like that at times. But some of it's based upon what's happening socially with us, if what products we're introducing, what occasion days that we have going on. Other times it's, again, just how we've played it with Deflategate, if you heard about that. So again, just playing in some of these opportunities whenever we have a chance to truly connect our brand to our fans and what they're thinking and talking about at that moment.
Great. Allie, how about you with Peter Pepper Pizza? How's that working?
Just great. I mean, Peter Piper is a brand. Kelly, you mentioned Krispy Kreme. It's all about celebration, and it's really the same with Peter Piper. The fans, especially in the Southwest, have been growing up with Peter Piper and have watched it evolve over the years. And so we really tap into not only their love for the brand, but their love for pizza, and especially on social media right now. I mean, pizza is just a hot topic. So we've really been able to capitalize on that kind of craveability factor with pizza, but then also throwing in other factors of the brand like gaming. So Peter Piper is a restaurant brand that you can think of it almost similar to like a Chuck E. Cheese, where people have the opportunity to not only enjoy the food, but the fun as well. So we really try to tap into both of those factors and connect with our fans.
So, Hannah, you are here from the Green Olive Media, so you are actually engaging with clients on their behalf. How do you actually sit down across from a desk and say, okay, how do I pull out that craveability? How do I pull out that connection with the customers that translates into an online presence versus that engagement opportunity when you're in someone's face, when they're in your door?
Right. So I have to tailor it based on which restaurant I'm working on. I work on about 15 different ones, so it just depends. I have to sit down and think about each restaurant, where they're located, what kind of clientele they have, and I have to come up with content that would be relevant to that clientele. So I like to keep things organic and fresh depending on, again, where they're located, what's happening, what type of people frequent it. I like to keep it really simple, that's really visually attractive, because that seems to be what gets the most engagement.
Okay.
I think that's a great answer. And let me ask all of you to kind of respond to this. If I'm a new restaurateur out there and I'm just starting off launching my social media program, where should I be and what kind of content should I be sharing? I know that's like an overall big question and kind of loaded, but hey, maybe you can take that first, Kelly.
Okay, sure. In thinking about it, first, it's what brand you are. If you are a brand that's more of a breakfast, or you don't have you have certain day parts that you're triggering and targeting, I would look at if you're like a constant 24/7 brand, you have 24/7 shops, you want to be on Twitter for something along those lines. Also, I want to back that up for a second and say resources, making sure you have the right resources in alignment too, so you can be dedicated on each of these platforms and dedicate the right time. I would say not jumping into all of them at once is a very smart move. And then also knowing your audience is probably the best way too. But universally speaking, generally and broadly speaking, of course, Twitter and Facebook are two primary channels that you should be on, and also Instagram. If you're a food brand, Clothier, or whatever brand you might be, you do have that visual representation, and having that presence there is very important. When you start breaking it down into Tumblr, YouTube and Google Plus and et cetera and Snapchat and everything else, it's having, again, the right content, because you can't have necessarily universal content. You can, but you're not creating unique experiences, because you're going to have crossover. You're going to have fans that are also going to be on Twitter and Instagram, and if you give them that same content on both channels, you're going to have kind of a dull engagement. You're not going to really have people as intrigued. You will have people that are truly only Instagrammers, and you may only have truly people that tweet all the time, but you want to create that totally different experience, or at least unique enough that people are engaged at that channel's level. But to dedicate yourself also to YouTube, you have to have the right financial resources, the right equipment, the right things in place to be able to do that, or the right agency. So really take time to think about that. And in thinking about all of these platforms together, having the right content strategy, the right plan in place, knowing, of course, what your objectives are, and then having the right resources to create that content, the stylized content. Can you create animated GIFs to be dedicated for Tumblr? Or can you create also for Twitter and for Pinterest, if you'd like? And also, do you have the right photographers in-house, or do you have the right external resources that can help you create that and help you truly develop what you're trying to accomplish? But if you're first establishing yourself, of course, Facebook and Twitter are the first places to start.
Okay, I'm exhausted hearing all that. Hannah?
I am too. My head is spinning.
Weigh in for us.
So you should absolutely be on Facebook, no matter what kind of business you are. There's more than 1 billion users on Facebook, active users right now, and 25% of those users check their accounts 5 or more times a day. So Facebook, you absolutely need to be on there. It's the easiest way to reach out to your guests and customers, and it's instant. So if there's anything going on, you can get the word out, and as soon as someone comments on it, you can reply. So absolutely Facebook. Next, Twitter. Actually, Instagram just passed Twitter with the amount of users, so Instagram's definitely gaining followers pretty quickly. A lot of that has to do with the visual aspect. Everything is just turning visual. People don't really want to see a lot of text. If you can get your word out with just a picture, that's definitely the way to do it. So Instagram is huge for restaurants and chefs also, if you want to go that route, because you can post the special and it's really easy for people to engage there. But definitely Facebook and Twitter, and I would say Instagram is, if not following right behind, it's right above Twitter now.
Okay. Allie, do you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I agree 100% with both of you. It's really about starting out kind of with a methodical mindset. So at our agency, we really focus a lot up front on defining who the audience is and understanding, as Kelly said, kind of what they're looking for and also what channels they're on most. And then, kind of taking your strategy and being able to appeal to them where they're engaging. And then the other thing, too, is defining your objectives and then kind of customizing your approach on each platform for those things. Kelly had a great point with, we call it cross-pollinating across all platforms. That's, you may have fans that are your followers on Twitter and like your page on Facebook, but there also is a possibility where it's a completely different audience. And in the case of social media, we've found that to be true. Facebook, our primary audience, is more of that millennial mom or more the family role. And then Twitter actually is a big following of more of that Gen Z kid who's coming in for quality pizza at a good price with their friends. So we try to customize our content by audience. And then I think the other thing to keep in mind, especially if you're just starting out, is that social is a great place to test and to try things and to keep kind of the mindset of optimization all the time. So maybe trying posting at different times of day or different styles of content, maybe different styles of photography, and trying to understand what works best for your audience, and then constantly, again, optimizing your approach to make sure that you're being as efficient as possible.
That's really good information, guys. I've got a question that's probably a loaded question. Probably don't have enough time for all of you to answer it, but let's talk a bit about content. As restaurant brokers, we always check their Facebook page or their Twitter feed or something before we go meet with people. And, it's always concerned me when I see the last post is October of 2011, hey, tonight 25-cent wings. That always concerns me when I see that on Facebook's. But, it's almost like this beast that when you start, you can't stop. So what about messaging? Can you guys give a little bit of advice? People are maybe trying to sort their content out. Maybe Anna, we'll start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing you need to do when you create your page, you need to come up with some type of schedule. You need to keep it constant, and you don't want to oversaturate your followers. So you need to kind of space it out. Obviously, in the beginning, you want to do a little bit more than you will later on. But in terms of content, it needs to be relevant. And you can base that on the weather outside, what type of events are happening, deals, holidays, new menu items, kind of behind the scenes stuff works great in restaurants, so you can kind of see what's going on before it hits the menu. Stuff like that is awesome. Again, with the visual, you want to do a lot of photos, keep it simple. You don't want to put a ton of text on there. And next, you want to engage. Everything needs to have some aspect of engagement, a call to action so people can respond to it. So what's your favorite, or what would you do with this? What would you pick? Like this or share this, depending if you like this, like the post, or if you don't like it, share it. Something like that. That's simple to get people engaged. I think that's the type of content that really works, and just keep it organic and fresh.
Okay, so I want to talk about the flip side of things, because to Eric's point, we Google, everybody before we go out on a listing appointment or take a listing, because we know a prospective buyer will do the same thing. So what happens with that negative content? Because we all know the restaurateur, and we all know, the crazy guest, the one that comes in, doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to be able to satisfy him. When that hits social media, what is that poor restaurateur to do? Kelly, has somebody complained that all the donuts are gone once the light came on? What do you do?
So, yes, we actually do get those complaints. And the best way to do it and the best way to approach it is to quickly have somebody that's in community management that can address it as, like, for instance, say you've just posted something and you have people putting negative comments in. Having somebody that's dedicated in at least that first 1 hour and plus time that you've posted something to be able to manage and to be able to go back and respond to it. First, it's taking that conversation to a degree offline, because sometimes it could escalate. Sometimes they might share too much personal information. So we migrated over to our contact center, our customer service team. But if it's something that can be addressable, like it's that maybe a sign was hit by somebody, or the hot light went out or something along those lines, or their app's not working, we will try to diagnose and help some of those problems. But more of sensitive matters, we make sure that we take that over to our contact center. So we direct our fans through email and sometimes directly to call in those instances. And we've had a really good response with that, because you do have things. You also need to be listening. That's the key thing, too. Listening at the right time of day or all times of day, and especially when you might have peak problems, especially whenever maybe you have a promotion that's out and you have a lot of questions that are happening around that time. Also, like a promotion that could even be just a new product that's been introduced and it's like wiped completely out of our cases because it's been so popular. So how do you address kind of fulfilling that and managing that? Again, that's been, we diagnose where it's at, because we have 260 locations here in the U.S., and so it's looking at where it's at, kind of troubleshooting where that problem is, and we alert our ops team as well. But we also make sure that we're trying to address and come up with a resolution for that guest or that fan if we can do that at that point. But again, if it's something that's a very sensitive issue, we do drive it offline.
That's good information. I've read, Alia, both ways. I mean, some people, the social media experts, say sometimes you need to address complaints in the public forum back there on your platform, or you address them, one-on-one. You try to reach out directly to that person that make the post or anything. Is there? You guys have a point of view on that? Which way is better or not? How to address some of these complaints or negative comments?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the first thing is just to be responsive. It's so important that your fans and followers and customers really feel heard and feel like by reaching out to you on social media, they're going to get an answer back and you care about their feedback. And then as to whether or not you can kind of address it publicly through a comment back and kind of sort things out in that space or drive it offline, as Kelly mentioned, I think it really depends on the case. If it's something that, is kind of an easy thing to respond to, if someone just maybe is upset that the restaurant isn't opening as early as they'd like or something like that, and you have a little bit of a form response, I think that's fine to handle a little bit more publicly. But there are times maybe where it's a more sensitive issue or it involves getting information from them about the transaction they made. I think it is important to be able to take that to a place where you can have a back and forth conversation with the person and not feel like, one, you're kind of spamming your other fans, or two, sharing any information that might be sensitive.
Yeah, and I actually saw this in action a few weeks ago in my neighborhood on a neighborhood site. Somebody said, this is the third time I've tried to get a pizza. This restaurant stinks. And it's a neighborhood pizza place. And immediately someone replied and said, I am the manager. Please call me immediately at this number. And then like 15 minutes went by and the original guy posted and said, talk to the manager, realized this was, and it was the delivery service issue. It was the intermediary. It wasn't. He explained what happened. So happy. He did a great job, blah, blah, blah. So I really think they took lemons and turned it into lemonade there. Is that the opportunity? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
You should always try to respond and do it in a very timely manner, and always make sure you don't come off as confrontational, just very understanding. And this is a great opportunity for the restaurant to show that they care about their guests and customers, and it'll just grow respect all around. Absolutely, you'll run into the people that are kind of just being bullies or trolls, and that can be addressed as well. Last resort, there is a way to ban people. If you're really having a problem with someone, you can ban them from the page, but you shouldn't use that unless it's a last resort and you've tried everything else. But there is an option for that.
I love it.
I have never met someone being banned from Facebook yet, so.
Just from your page.
And it can also help you from an earned media perspective, too, in a nice way. I mean, you can gain PR value if there's like an extreme case that, something's happening. You've heard, an instance that's happened again from a customer service perspective. Just imagine where that could turn. We had something that happened a few years ago where this guy was challenging, he was doing this rejection therapy. And so he walks in and he was hoping to be rejected on his request. So our shop actually went above and beyond, and they made exactly what he was looking for. And it turned out to be this great, wonderful story, and it was just something unexpected. We weren't doing it to the intent of trying to, get exposure or something along those lines, but it really took off to the next level. He made appearances on talk shows and things along those lines. So it was very interesting just to see how that one act of kindness and one of our team members going above and beyond just to try to make a customer's day. So again, that really turned for us socially as well.
So I've actually seen a lot of those instances, and when we come back after a break in a couple minutes, I want to talk about that, because I have seen lots of these instances where a store manager steps up and helps a blind man who dropped a $20 bill, and then it turns into this amazing online recognition of what great employees you have and what a fabulous customer service experience it is to use this business or that business. So you absolutely can transition from a social media environment into a press environment where you're just being absolutely complimented. Lots of great stuff to talk about from a social media perspective, and we have some experts assembled today. Hallie Wright from Peter Piper Pizza, Hannah Carroll from Green Olive Media, Kelly O'Brien from Krispy Kreme, who's right up there on the nation's restaurant news top 200 in social media. Stay tuned with the Restaurant Brokers. We'll be right back after this very quick commercial timeout.